solo leveling kinda sucks. So I recently caught up with solo leveling, and at the time of recording, episode 7 of season 2 just released. So by the time you're watching or season 2 ends, chances are everything I say is wrong and I'm just an idiot. But that's not going to stop me from talking about this show, which, despite the title and intro, I absolutely love. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You might be thinking, was the entire thumbnail and premise of this video clickbait then? Well, actually, no. I do adore solo leveling, but I also think that the entire story, plot, and characters are all pretty mid, except for Jinwoo and Jinho, of course. Now, solo leveling is fun, and I mean really, really fun. I've never watched anything that got me so addicted as quickly as solo leveling does. The fights are incredible, and the story's so simple that I'm always hungry for more. But these trademarks that make up solo leveling come at a cost, like the story. While being easier for the viewer to follow and allowing for more action, it's very one dimensional. I don't think I've been sad or angry once while watching solo leveling. Sure, the first episode was dramatic and gut wrenching, but since then, all I've had is hype administered straight into my veins. And look, I like hype just as much as the next guy, but it's crazy to me how enjoyable solo leveling is despite lacking practically any character development other than Jinwoo. I mean, guys, remember the girl who liked Jinwoo back when he was a loser? I had to look up her name since it's been so long since she was in the story, and it's Juhee. That means the three characters that I've talked about so far are Jinwoo, Jinho, and Juhee, which I just want to say sure took a lot of creativity from Chugong. But the point is, I feel like Juhee had so much potential as a character. She loved Jinwoo for what he really was, and she had a sense of shared trauma with him. I thought it'd be a really nice dynamic where she's the one person that Jinwoo can trust, since she was there for him when he was nothing. But what happens instead? She starts tweaking out, and we never hear from her again. And I'm sure she'll show up later at some point in the manga, but it's clear that her time's already passed. As Jinwoo's getting so strong, he doesn't really need anyone, and the love narrative is clearly shifting to Cha Hae-in, which you can't blame my boy Jinwoo for, but I can't help but feel like it was a missed opportunity to use her character, create some emotional bonds, and raise the stakes in the show. And that brings us to another aspect of the show that I really want to talk about. There are practically no stakes or underlying tension in solo leveling. Tension in anime is what keeps the viewers invested. They want to know if their favorite characters are going to live or die, or if the heroes are going to somehow prevail against all odds. But solo leveling doesn't really have any of that. It's obvious that Jinwoo isn't going to die. Not only is he ridiculously strong, he's also the main character. And I'm not going to lie, at the current rate things are going, I could easily see Jinwoo just taking over and eventually becoming some sort of god. But whereas other shows have meaningful side characters and fleshed out villains that make up for this, solo leveling doesn't. Literally, the only character at this point in the story who I'd really be sad if they died is Jinho. And even then, it wouldn't be nearly as impactful as certain deaths in shows like Attack on Titan or Hunter x Hunter. And again, I'm sure that at some point in the manga, these things will be addressed in one sense or another. There'll be stronger bonds and more impactful villains, but that's not the point of this video. Despite my critiques, I'm not trying to say that solo leveling isn't enjoyable, or that you shouldn't watch it. Instead, the point is to illustrate how solo leveling goes against every norm and standard in the anime and storytelling community and still manages to monumentally succeed. I stand by everything I said in the beginning of this video. So far, the story of solo leveling kinda sucks, at least in comparison to the audience and praise it has garnered. I mean, think about it. If a high school English teacher read the script for solo leveling, they'd probably vomit. The plot isn't very complex, the characters are very static, and they lack any relationship dynamics. But solo leveling isn't really a story that fails, it's a story that doesn't even try. It's like if that English teacher gave the solo leveling writers a prompt and they decided to eat the paper like Mabel does in that scene from Gravity Falls. You see, solo leveling as a story is mid, but that just isn't the point. It's one of the first anime I've seen in a long time that's cool for the sake of being cool. And I can appreciate that. It doesn't take itself seriously and it doesn't require any emotional investment to get into. Somehow, solo leveling takes its one central theme of video game progression and absolutely nails it over and over again while throwing every other story element to the side. It's the only show that I've ever watched that feels like playing a game more than watching a piece of media. And I think that's exactly why it succeeds despite its incredibly foreign approach. Solo leveling doesn't give you that long and satisfying build up that requires episodes of context, progression, and growth. Instead, it slaps you in the face with level up, upgrade, upgrade, forcing you to get lost in the game. And I, for one, am happy to get lost in solo leveling's game. It's so fun and action packed. It feels like the best moments of playing a video game without the boring grinding or plateaus. I love solo leveling even though the story is mid. It's a complete breath of fresh air in a sector where people tend to care a little too much. Anime fans get too invested in the stories and care too much about each and every character. But solo leveling doesn't let you do that. There is no deeper meaning. There is no hidden mystery. There's just hype. And maybe, just maybe, that's what people wanted all along.